Hello everyone! Blue Star Saber here, once again to do another One Piece chapter review. Chapter 1154. Can't Even Die. This chapter is basically covering the events of last week's chapter, where we learn the early life of King Howard, how he used to be a rotten kind of person before he met Ida, Julian's mother, who, after giving him a bit of a stern talking and a few slaps, is able to help him mend his ways and become the man he would be regarded as the better king down the line before he was killed by his own son Loki, and see how he became like a good king, learned to trade with others, how he had Hajuden, how like the nobles forbid him from marrying Ida, and then marrying Loki's mother Estrid, who was a rather shallow vein woman, who, when Loki was born, denounced the child and treated him basically like a Hephaestus from like the Greek mythology. So yeah, basically and we got like the most insane feat of like a Loki as a baby climbing at the top of Elbaf's tree to try and reach back to his mother, even killing a monstrous bear, if you will. So yeah. Arguably a lot of hype now surrounding Loki, that now some are considering Loki to be Yonko level, unless you're one of those who wants to insist that you're likely to join the crew of the Straw Hat Pirates. But yeah, I'm reviewing this chapter a bit earlier than I normally would do at times, but heck, let's see. The sooner the better, really. But yeah. Anyway, but before we begin with this chapter's review, we've got, of course, the cover panel, which is Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 38. Go pay your respects to the grave of the hero born in the West Blue and raised in Ringo. And okay, so yeah, this let's see, you basically got Yamato along with Kikuku and the female Yakuza boss, as well as you can see here, page 1, and Uchi, who Uchi is quickly rushing to this grave in Ringo. I can't recall whose grave this is as a character we met or not, but at the very least, it seems Oda's got more to tell with this cover story, so we might learn a bit more about Wano's history at the very least. So yeah, it seems that it's very possible that Wano might just be the longest cover story that Oda will ever do. We'll have to wait and see. Though granted, I do believe there is I guess the Where Are They Now, which he had 50, but yeah. So we still got a long way to go, I guess, to that, but like at least 12 more chapters, but who knows. Anyway, I've said all that, and now it's time for me to get on with like the actual chapter. So yeah. I do like how Uzi is the one that's like quickly trying to run there while everyone is taking their time. Giving her patient nature. So oops, it went a bit further back. The chapter basically begins with 63 years ago, where Chief Joel, the Chief Jowl's best friend, if you will, who was like his partner, has been killed by Big Mom, as you can see. About how let's see, where apparently the narration box describes the girl as half human. So it seems to imply that Big Mom might not, let's see, has some sort of race lineage about her. Some might imply giant, but who knows? It could just be a thing with the Viz translation. But yeah. But of course, the narration talks about how this was Charlotte Linland, later known as Big Mom. And we get that after that happened, apparently in the very same year, Elbaf was afflicted by disaster after disaster, which the Giants mentioned, which everyone blames as Loki's curse. We see like the places being frozen wastelands, even fishing things were frozen, and we see even like I think a giant god, or maybe even a giant fishman or boat. At least giants on a ship being frozen. Let's see. So yeah, the extreme weather basically brought this fertile land to the brink of starvation, and this is where we see where hold on, let me just find the panel. Oops, no, there we go. No, not that one, but this one. But this one sort of gives you the idea of like the frozen wasteland. But we basically have Estrid, let's see, blaming Loki for this, saying it's saying the child has put a curse on this land, saying that he should have killed him. the captain of the guard, who is really being a decent fellow, if you're saying it's just a coincidence, but she just gets angrier and angrier whenever Loki is trying to come to her and all that stuff, telling that child, to get the child away from her, and Loki is trying to get at like his mother's love, if you will. Let's see, telling it to kick her out, don't let her hear her ever again. Loki is desperately just trying to cry to get to his mother, wanting some affection. The guards try to do their best, saying, please don't enter you mustn't enter your mother's chambers. Let's see, she just saying, put out the beast's eyes, saying this country is ruined, all under a curse, and you just get Loki more heartbreaking. Seemingly, Loki, despite being like probably a few months old, seemingly understands that. Let's see, probably in some sense, maybe understand that it's his mother doesn't really want him and all that. So, yeah, as a result, you sort of get this. Alarm I forgot to turn off. Let's see. Hold on. Where was I? Oh yeah, you cut to this. Like basically villagers getting like all hungry and frozen. A mother trying to hold this child, saying that they've run out of food when he or she's crying how hungry they are. Let's see. You got giants arguing about going to raid humans and saying that they say that's what they used to do, but let's see, others arguing that it's no longer part of that's just a part of Elba's history. They're no longer that. It'd be a shame to do that. Let's see, people are arguing, let's go back to the old ways. No, we must stick to the new traditions and all that stuff. And then you get a bunch of, I believe, hold on, let me just find the image. Oops, I'm giving a lot of spoilers. Unprofessional, I know. Oh, well, you get a bunch of giants, let's see, attacking each other, from the Hunters village, exactly. They've been taking out other villages, other giants pair arms, and as a result, this leads to sort of giant civil war as they fought each other over, let's see, resources and I guess maybe over resources and food, if you will. As the narration says that civil wars were not uncommon, and also now the fact that the lack of food made the situation even worse, and it plunged the country into chaos. And this is where the rumors start happening about how they believe that the prince that was born is cursed. So it sort of due to the fact all this famine, all this stuff is happening, due to like irrational fear and hatred, they blame Loki, listening to Estrid's curse, and eventually this ends up, of course, affecting Hedrudan and his mother, as a giant comes in, accusing them of being like Hedrudan's brother, cursing the land, saying that he needs to be sacrificed. Estrid tries to say protesting how his son's like the cutest thing in the world. He's got to live to be the oldest boy in the world. Basically, emphasizing how mothers want their children to last long after they're gone. But Giant basically accuses her of being an outsider who seduced Harold, and that as she declares that there's no love has no boundaries to like borders, if you will. But anyway, Hedrudan tries to protest like her mother being about to be attacked, but just as all this chaos is happening, Hedrudan arrives to hold on, let me just find the image. Hedrudan arrives to save the day, beat the living daylights out of this giant, if you will, and telling him don't make me pound you, which Hedrudan ends up crying, either cries for Harold, hugging him. Let's see, questioning his fellow giants. Why on earth are you turning against each other? This gets the giants to calm down as he declares, whereas the same breath he heard about Loki's birth, he learned that his kingdom was suffering of starvation. So he went at once to countries which we have ties to. Without a single word, they went and loaded up all their ships with, supplies of food to give everyone, even though they're all tiny humans. But they managed to band together, all together, to get enough food to fill the bellies of giants. As we see, hold on, let me just find it. We see ships to start occupied with a lot of food coming to give aid as you get some as the king declares, let us be grateful for that aid. Let us save the food they brought us. As you get members of the crew saying that the ship saying they arrived, wondering how they can dock on the island, amazed at the sight of it. You then get giants feeding off the food. Let's see, as King Howard says, when they in turn need our help, let us give it to them freely. You've got giants, the families and giants eating. You got the people in those spirits waving and waving at everyone. Let's see. So as he declares, the world we live in is so much smaller than we believed. And at this point, you've got basically, Estrid has, passed away after Howard's return. And apparently even to her dying breath, blamed all the kingdom's ills on her son, Loki. And naturally the people believed that her death was also a part of a curse. So even in death, her words have affected Loki, as everyone believes him to be a cursed child. The only one that seemed to be showing him affection is King Howard, who views him like Loki, my son, trying to give him a warm embrace, but unfortunately, as the guard, he's unaware of the fact that the guards have the reason why Loki has bandages. This is where we see Loki finally getting bandages, where he was, the giant guards end up saying he was born with affliction of the eyes, I'm afraid, and he can't see, he assures him, which Howard thinks is a poor lad. And misunderstands that, no, it's actually because the mother just despised what his eyes look like, saying that, and Howard mistakes the fact that Loki cannot smile, wondering if it's because he's lost his mother, but unaware of just how, I guess, his wife has treated their son. My guess is the guards have not told him anything, and unfortunately, despite the affection that Howard is showing him, Loki just has given up abandoning of any hope of love just a few months. So King Howard's affections for Loki just do not affect him because he doesn't believe anyone would actually truly love him, which makes me wonder how the events with Lola will play out down the line. With Harold, who notices that Loki has a lot of bruises, but the guards just try not to say what happened. So yeah. Anyway, King Howard ends up being a bit of a diplomat and helping Elf survive the winter, helping build new routes to promote trade with friendship between the villages and all that stuff. But unfortunately, Harold ends up not having enough time to raise his son. Making him busy. So in other words, he has to leave Loki in the care of his regent. Which sorry, let me just get a drink. Sorry about that. And saying that, and so he literally leaves the care of Loki to his apparently regent, which turns out to be Estrid's older brother, who proves to just be as shallow and horrid as she was, calling Loki a sort of horrid thing to his face, if you will, or behind him. And then we cut to what has happened to Ida over those years, who's now become in charge of sort of that bar tavern we saw Shanks at the beginning of Elbaf. So leading a bit of questions since the hostess there was a bit different when we arrived with Shanks, but Julian's so concerned for his mother, given that she's down in the underworld. But she's convinced that the sea separates them from the underworld, so the beats can't reach them. And she's being all motherly affectionate. You worry about me, and telling that you're going to be and tells Julian just to go to his warrior training, since with Elbow in the Western Village, right? So she'll stop on the way home. As she talks about the fishermen, the shipwrecked pirates all come here all welcome, saying that this is Ida's bar, which I'm wondering if she's referring to, fishermen as people that actually do as the profession, or fishermen because, the fisherman race. But yeah. She declares that this is her bar and hopes it helps Howard in some way. My guess being like hopefully the first welcome guest, that the first welcome face that, let's see, all these kind of travelers meet, if you will. So yeah. Anyway, eventually we cut to let me just find the image. Nope. Yeah. It was here. We cut to like Harold, let's see, visiting Giles' home 56 years ago. So revealed that Harold actually went to the Reverie where he asked a fellow royal to help him slip inside as a soldier, which leads to so many questions because, well, given King Harold is basically the size of an ancient giant, basically, and but in the end, the council would not, let's see, hear him out with what he wanted to try and say to them. Let's see. And talks about if it's not for the murder of an uproar for a murder, he might have been imprisoned. Let's see, with Giles saying that he was lucky, saying that you'd only be in chains. That was carrying it reckless of him. And I should turn off these alarms. Saying, have you ever heard of the Galleria band, which I think is supposed to be the Galar band, like Water 7's Galar, if you will, the Galar company. And let's see, Hal just talks about how that group of hardy giant shipwrights, hammering-wielding warriors, he thought they were like basically a myth. And Zhao declares, no, they certainly existed. And they traveled to distant shores and sent letters back to Elbaf from afar, saying, it said we have all been taken prisoner. And he thinks that's like such a hard thing to believe, but who could possibly capture like 100-strong company of our kind, with ancient giants among them to boot, as we get like a silhouette of all the giants. With Howard wondering, is this the world government you're thinking of? And he talks about, it's clear that they had some enemy in the great past, but saying all that history has sunk to the sea one day, saying that your failure to win over might not be your fault. With Howard thinking that it's some ancient amenity that's been existed for years that they don't fully realize. With Zhao going on about how he had stories on the wind about an army of giants put in ice hidden somewhere, which many people, of course, think to like, let's see, the frozen giants and Punk Hazard. So, in any case, never forget that. Well, they've been a threat to the West, telling how that we've been a threat to the world. With him saying he's aware of that. Anyway, you get, I think, let's see, the brother of Estrid, who sounds a bit creepy, and you go like, oh, Prince Loki, killer of our beloved sister. Let's see, so who seems to be faking some sort of affectionate with like harsh words, then ends up saying, let's see what rotten scraps I shall feed him today. But as Loki we see gets older and older, let's see, we get more like some of the tragedies I believe that we've heard or chaos incidents that involved Loki that gets blamed for. Basically, the death of the lucky horse, and that the regent is dead down in the underworld. So Loki's uncle has basically been killed. Whether or not Loki is involved with that one, I don't know. But it might be his own fault. But yeah. But eventually, 48 years have passed where Elrond built 8 branches routes in Elbaf, which is now being used, I believe, by the Gods Knights, which unified the country in creating a vibrant trade between villages. As Howard declares that it's his dream for us to be connected to every country and for giant kind to be able to live all across the world. The people celebrate, saying he's the best king. Harry will be remembered as a king for ages. The guards tease Julian about how he's so pleased since he's not the king's real son, and Loki is our only prince, mocking him for just being a bastard. And this gets Julian upset and Loki smiling. With then we cut to let's see, some of the citizens of the Elbaf saying, "Look out! The King Howard has gone on another of his trips." And let's see, they all know that what this realizes and what this means as everyone tries to bolt their doors, bring the children indoors. As Loki goes on a rampage with his animals here, as you can see in this page. Let's see, telling them to destroy everything around them, saying that this land is a mighty nation. We don't need the weak here, as he caused havoc and destruction and mocked those who ran from him, destroying buildings. Eventually, Hadrudin tries to stand up to him, saying not to mess with this village that their father worked so hard to rebuild. Let's see. He is offended by the fact that Hadrudin calls him dad, and see when he's his dad, doesn't feel like he has the right to do so. Let's see. That saying that he doesn't care that Howard might get a lot of respect, but saying that he tries to befriend those puny humans, thinking it's so stupid. Hadrudin tries to live up to like his father's and mother's ideals, saying we have to see everyone at the same eye level, saying don't think you're special just because you're big. And Loki just beats up, I believe, Hadrudin because, well, he is basically declares himself the prince. And, well, let me just see if I actually got an image. Yeah. Here we go. We've seen him beat up Hadrudin, saying he's special because he's the prince and saying not to ever talk back again. As he continues to beat him up, saying that this is where you get Gerd walking. Oops. So you really should turn off these alarms. Dang it. I really should have done this. I took a little nap earlier, trying to get some sleep, but oh well. Hold on, let me just check. We've got a comment from Mr. Let's see, Mr. CFO said, who can the first sun god be? Well, it seems that you've gone, but to give you an answer to that question, I assume that the first sun god, which is probably what Mr. Morge predicts, is that in the first world, the first person to ever eat a devil fruit was probably the first sun god. So yeah, that's probably what is probably Mr. Morge's theory is probably correct, but who knows? Anyway, back to the image. Let's see. Basically, Hadrudin is being beaten up. Gerd wishes to like help him, but I think Goldberg, I think, is saying that, let's see, don't get near or Loki will think we're friends and he'll hit us. But she ends up hitting Goldberg, saying, we are friends, you dummy. And then you get people coming around Hadrudin asking if he's okay. Loki is just continues just to mock continues to like mock Hadrudin for being a weakling. Let's see, calling him a loser. This gets Hadrudin crying, but he's trying to put on tough face, saying how look at the weaklings licking each other's wounds. The son of a mother with tainted blood. The guards trying to say, Your Highness, that's enough. He's the king's son as well. Within the one trying to say he's a prince, but Loki gets mad, saying, don't call him a prince, and then beats them up, saying, but no matter what Loki did and what he destroyed, Loki could never fill a hole in his heart. Let's see, he once sees like a mother nursing his wounded son, which he did. This affects Loki, and he goes off to jump off a cliff, declaring that he can't even die. In many ways, doing a similar thing to what Kaido did. And while this is going on, he starts to hear voices saying, "What's up with this island? Where did you get? Where do we go? Where do you go? Inland and all that stuff." You got some of the beasts, but seemingly panicking and nervous. Or let's see if what is coming. Let's see what is walking by. Loki, the group notices Loki and realize that okay, this is a giant kid, so he must be Elbaf. And then you see none other than the figures of, let's see, Whitebeard, Stussy, and Golden Lion Shiki. Let's see, as Shiki says, look at this one's positively demonic. Whitebeard seems too big, even for a giant, wondering why he's crying. And then none other than Rox D. Sebek, the future captain of the Rox Pirates, as he just says, "You're all right, Brat? You're going to say yes twice because that's the answer I want from these questions," as he's undoing his fingers, which I think some people thought that might be Lord's devil fruit he has. Goes like, question 1, is this Elbaf land of the giants? And then asks question 2, is Howard here? As you get the narration saying, this man who met Howard at the Reverie 8 years earlier killed a Navy headquarters admiral and fled. Now the government has placed a heavy bounty on his head. Let's see. And it introduced him in the giant text as Roxy Sebek, as we get a full up face of who he is. Hold on. Of who he is. Rox Diesebeck, looking very much like Blackbeard, future captain of the Rox Pirates and father of Blackbeard, ending the chapter finally seeing the legendary figure that was Roger's greatest rival. So yeah. So yeah, that is the end of the chapter. So yeah, my overall thoughts. Okay. First thing of note is that let's see, I'm curious about is the fact that apparently Big Mom, we know what we got. Let's see, this is basically a narration of what is going on. We know that Big Mom, when Loki was born, caused the havoc that eventually would let her to be scorned by giants for killing Jor-El, Jarl's oldest friend and partner and co-captain. And then, of course, like all the famine and the village stuff. But what surprised me is apparently a girl that's a half human destroyed the entire village. See, as far as I was aware of, Big Mom we were always told that Big Mom was just basically a normal human. Now we've got implications that she's not. And granted, it's a bit weird because we've actually seen both of Big Mom's parents. They are ordinary humans. So whereas this sort of half human stuff gone, it's just like a giant. It's like she got some giant's blood in her. She got some like is one of them part of a tribe that we don't know, or is this just a mistranslation of the Fizz? I'm just wondering that because this answers so much questions as Oda retconning Big Mom. Honestly, I'd probably need some questions. I'm not sure this is something to nitpick or not, but who knows? Maybe we'll have to wait until the anime comes in and says if they're okay, she's half human or not. But yeah, that probably won't be for like another year or so. As we're now like in like 29 chapters into like Elbaf, so yeah. But anyway, Estrid continues to be such a cruel mother. The fact that Loki here is just desperately wanting love for her, but she's just like, no, it's cursed. Kill her, kill the child, if you will. Even the guards, despite the protests from the guards and even the captain, who seem to show Loki at this point, at the very least, more affection than his own mother, which is really tragic and sad. Loki just wants to be loved like any ritzy child or even baby from their parent. But his mother, but the fact that his mother's so vain, despises his appearance, refuses to give him the love he needs, and it leads to all kinds of like abuse. So yeah. So yeah. But I do like how but I do like how we learn throughout like the sort of like famine and civil war with like all the giants. You've got like you see all sort of society collapse basically, where basically they're fighting each other. They're talking about, let's see, we need to raid villages. Those who want to try and keep to the ideals that Harold just bring. Let's see, all kinds of slaughter, lack of food, children crying. Let's see, you can see how all this sort of like absolute chaos could lead to like irrational thoughts and prejudice of like, and the fact that Estrid's words started becoming rumors about being cursed spread like wildfire, leading to many citizens to believe that Loki is a cursed child, no doubt leaving him to be unfortunately a shunned outcast in the village. And you start to see, and as a result, we even start to see the sort of consequences that has on Hidruden, who we have been told for many chapters that many would not accept him for king because he does not have like pure, after Loki apparently killed Harold in cold malice because, well, he had impure blood. We actually now see this here with this one giant, Ritzy, who's Bletzy, accusing him by guilt of association to Loki that because of what your brother did, you must die for your sins, blaming also the mother for like seducing Harold and all that stuff. Thankfully, Harold, showing why many people view him as such a good king, defends his like first family, if you will, and then Ritzy bringing aid and all that stuff. And I like the words that Harold says about how they brought their allies in, and let's see how after he heard about his son's birth and like the chaos of like what's going on in Elbaf, he asked aid for all the countries and they helped him without hesitation, arguably because all the work that he's probably done in recent years have managed to pay off, and they want to help him, even though despite the fact that giants are massive, they all managed to get food to supply them. and end up saving them, and end up like see enough to save the people. And I like how Harold's words saying that let's see, when they need our help, let us give it freely, saying that this world is so small, which makes me wonder if this is perhaps possible foreshadowing on the fact that when the world starts sinking and Elbaf, let's see, probably one of the countries that may be large enough to not get initially sunk, may end up helping as many people get on their land, or possibly the giants will go over the world and help pick up as many people as they can to get on giant ships, or even possibly help them get on the Noah. As let's see, as arguably the world's going to sink, and eventually you're going to get like the fishmen, but maybe also the giants and maybe other races helping out the humans, teaching humans a bit of a value lesson that they're all in the same boat, basically. So yeah. So I do think that Harold's words will eventually come into play. Hopefully, at least I think that's what Oda's building up to, of some of like giants playing a role in helping the humans when the world sort of floods, and I guess other races on the lands. But yeah, that aren't like giants or fishermen. Anyway, Estrid really is sort of like a horrible mother, as you can see. Let's see, let's see here with like her rejection of her, let's see, her son, but her death, even in death, let's see, which we knew was coming, but even her death just cursed her son to the end just before Harold arrives. Arguably, it seems like Harold didn't get enough time to see all her ravings and ramblings. Let's see, as she died, as all her ramblings have affected like a curse, though granted I'm sure he might have heard stuff, but I'm not entirely sure, or at least, let's see, I'm not sure how much the guards, let's see, kept from the truth, but it seems that at the very least when Harold finally arrived to try and give affection to his son, it seems that he's been not told the entire truth at the very least, as the guards seem to at least try to censor what his mother, Loki's mother, did about just being disgusted by eyes, just saying, oh, just some condition of the eyes that he just has, that he just needs those bandages to thing, and like not telling the details of all like the bruises that Loki has endured. So Harold, let's see, seemingly unaware of the neglect and abuse that his own wife has done to their son, is unaware that what is going on with Loki, and as a result is not able to seemingly show the love that Loki needs, that Loki has basically given up on love, which I am very curious to see. Let's see how Loki, what will happen when Loki actually meets Lola, because we know that Loki apparently fell in love with Lola and wanted to marry her, but Lola didn't want to love him back. And then Charlotte tried to do, like my big mom tried to offer Chiffin as a replacement, but Loki refused and all that stuff. So I do wonder, let's see how that will play out. If maybe Loki tried to, Loki tried to do love one last time with Lola, but it didn't go so well, and that just made him more bitter. We just have to wait and see how that played out. So yeah. But anyway, as we know, that is at some point in the timeline, though granted it might be just after Loki had left Elbaf, but who knows? We have to get more explanation on that part. But anyway, so yeah. But yeah, but it's interesting to see how is probably the only person that does actually seem to care for his son Loki, but due to perhaps maybe his own ignorance and the fact that he's so busy with work, he is unable to actually see that, just to unable to see what his son is feeling or lack of feeling, or just what exactly happened to his son, that he ends up doing some, let's see, as he's being a good king, but it's a downside. He's perhaps maybe not been the best of father, or the father that Loki need. Ended up leaving him in the care of his uncle, who just despises him as much as his mother did. So yeah, he can't really do any leads Loki to be more of the person he is. But it's a shame, really, because Howard is clearly a good man, and clearly he would be a good father, but it's just the fact that his mission is so busy that he just cannot seem to do it. And I do like how Ida seemed to found the tavern and bar down where where we first saw Shanks and Elbaf, like I said earlier. Let's see. I am curious to see why we didn't see her at the beginning of like there in the bar, and they had this other hostess. What was her name? Let me just see if I can find it. Let me just see. Giants. No, where's Giants? Let me just put Giants One Piece. One Piece, yeah. Giants One Piece. What was her name? Let's see. Elbaf Giants. 4-man. Good. Okay. Mato. We got a giant called Mato who now let's see, does the tavern thing. We don't know let's see. I don't know what's happened to Ida. Some have wondering, like, since she's a mother, the worst thing you could be in One Piece is that mothers end up usually being dead. I don't know if Ida's actually dead or not, but we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, I do like how she's trying to be like the bartender for like fishermen, let's see, pirates and other travelers, welcoming them, being hopefully in her own small way, helping Harold. But I do like how she's trying to be also this affectionate when Howard's being concerned, and even just saying, you can go train, go train with your teachers, and I will stop by the village and all that stuff. So I do like that. Anyway, it is also interesting that we get a bit of lore dump, which with King Harold and Jarl, who we end up learning that let's see, Harold ended up, trying to, infiltrate Reverie as a guard for a king. But I'm wondering, how on earth were they able to try and do that? Because it's like Harold is basically one of the largest beings in the world of One Piece. People would know who he is straight away. I'm just wondering, how did he think that was going to work? Let's see. There needs to be some sort of explanation. Let's see. Did they try to pose him off as some hired gun or some like random giant, or did they have some sort of like or did that king had some sort of like devil fruit, or someone in the like guard that had some sort of devil fruit that allowed them to shrink out or something, try and pose him off as a man? Honestly, I gotta see at least maybe some flashback to this Reverie meeting just to see how it goes. But at the very least, he nearly got caught. But it wasn't for like the death of like the admiral that Rocks killed. He probably would have been, but yeah. But it's interesting how we also learned that there was like a Galar band that actually of 100 giants, ancient giants that built like ships and all that stuff, who were even regarded as myths to like King Harold. Apparently, this might be the explanation of who built Pluton. It might have been these giants who went to Water 7, helped build the plans of Pluton, and eventually they got captured and killed by the world government. And they seemingly might even be the giants that were frozen in Punk Hazard. So Oda is tying up quite a bit of lore and loose ends that of Water 7 and Punk Hazard. And when we saw that, those ice giants, and maybe also explain, okay, we got an idea of who maybe helped build Pluton at the very least. So yeah, it could be that the giants were the ones that helped build the ship. So yeah. But I do like how this leads to how to realize, okay, the world government might have been behind this, since, well, they are the only figures that would be, let's see, 40 figures that would probably be powerful enough to try and take down giants, since they were the dominant force in the world. But also the fact that, let's see, he realizes, okay, there are some, let's see, deep past prejudice that have affected how his current mission is to try and bridge the world between humans and giants. Of course, I do like how his results remained, let's see, resolved, of like trying to make his dream come true of connecting everyone together, if you will. But of course, unfortunately, this ends in tragedy because, well, the world government just wants to use the giants as weapons of war. So yeah. But anyway, I do like how we see basically Loki just gets more accused throughout the years of, like, let's see, being responsible for the horse's death, his own uncle, who, to be fair, was a jerk. Now, granted, I do wonder if that one might have been an intent Loki might have actually killed the uncle, just because of the way he's been treating him, feeding him like trash scraps, if you will. But not that I can necessarily blame Loki, of course. Yet, see, you should never do kinslaying. But yeah, but yeah. But yeah, he was an awful person. But yeah, who knows? But nevertheless, Loki just keeps getting blamed for like the horse's death and also like probably the regent's death as well. Anyway, I do like how we see Howard's Ritzy able to do those branch bridge that eventually be used by the God's Knights, managed to make such interconnections to the world, sharing his dream with the people of connecting everyone, which gets the citizens calling him the best giant, Ritzy, the best king they ever had, or one that will go down in history. And I like that we even got to see a bit more of like the whole Hadrudan, oh, you're just the bastard son, with even Loki going into that, and then causing basically havoc, let's see, across, showing how he's causing havoc across, Elbaf when Harold's away, which is basically just to try and fill the void, but also because he seems to despise all these witsy, weak citizens who have scorned him and all that stuff. I do like how Hadrudan tries to defend, the people trying to live up to like his parents' ideals, but Loki is just unfortunately too strong. And somewhat, but lucky for her, Hadrudan, he has friends, even like Gerd, who continues to be the most decent of like Harold's crew, like beating Goldberg when he said, let's not make it look like we're his friends, but saying, of course we're friends. We're not going to leave our friend behind. And as a result, you've got like Loki, who despises his one hand, you got one brother who despises the other for being weak, but is also envious of the fact that he seems to be getting love and affection. And you have Hadrudan, who has all like the affection and love, despite jealous of like Loki's strength, and despises the fact that he's treated as like Howard's Ritzy legitimate son, and he's just treated as like a bastard born son, if you will. But unfortunately, we get like really tragedy with this. But Loki, who's just so, wanting affection, it's not getting it, tries to kill himself, but he's just too strong, like Kaido, to actually end his life. But it seems that, as a result of doing this, he ends up meeting, of course, the group of Rocks pirates, which will probably be where he starts to get to admire someone, of course, Rox D. Sebek, which I will admit, the fact that we actually got to meet, the Rocks pirates and Rox D. Sebek is, I will admit, it's a bit of a surprise, but yeah. And the fact that we've got a full-on face reveal of Rocks, I will admit, I didn't think we would have gotten something like this until like God's Valley, but no, we actually got the full-on face reveal here of Rox D. Sebek. He is basically here when basically looks like Blackbeard, and basically it's confirmed that he is Blackbeard's son. Let's see. So ending the theories and all that stuff. I know some might be disappointed that Blackbeard is basically the most obvious choices, but I think it probably makes narrative sense at the very least. And in some ways, the fact that he is confirmed to be Blackbeard's father, in a sense, Blackbeard probably got revenge for his father by defeating Ace, in a sense. And I think some are like making the comments on that now. But yeah. But it's interesting that Rox D. Sebek, who is we learned that his first feat as a pirate, even before he's actually officially found the pirate crew, is the fact that he's killed an admiral. An admiral, as we know, admirals are one of the strongest group of fighters in the world of One Piece. They might not be Yonko level, but arguably they are stronger than nearly any faction below that is not Yonko level pirate level. So yeah, it's like an impressive feat, and he's not even like the pirate captain yet. And it seems like he's just started a small group so far, which composes of Whitebeard, Stussy, and Shiki. So arguably, this is like early Straw Hats, if you will, like your Zoros, your Sanjis, and your Namis. Maybe not any Usops, but still. But yeah, you've got them here forming like the small group of pirates, if you will. Not yet fully a group, but it seems like at the moment they're following Rox for one reason or another. I'm very curious of why Whitebeard ended up being a part of Rox's crew, because from what we can see as Whitebeard as a person and a character is probably morally against Rox's behavior. Heck, we even see here that as Shiki is marking like Loki's appearance, Whitebeard seems concerned that he is crying. So yeah, Whitebeard continues to be a sort of decent person, as even we saw with like when Loki challenged Rox to a fight, and like Whitebeard went a bit too harsh there, but yeah. But anyway, but Rox just basically cares that okay, you're gonna answer this question. This is Elbaf, and this is where is King Harold here and all that stuff, which arguably Loki is probably gonna give the answer, but probably gonna say that Harold's away. But yeah, but it is interesting that the fact that this is the meeting here. I'm very curious to see what Rox will do to get Loki to admire him so much that he wants to join his crew. But he's like, nope, not interested in kids though. But yeah, arguably this last page is the major hype. This was already a good chapter, but this last page made it a great chapter. The fact that we've got Rox D. Sebek, we got his look, which interesting. Let's see, even though he basically looks like let's see, Blackbeard, you still got some people theorizing, could he also be maybe Buggy's father because of some comparisons to face? But either way, and also I guess the sort of his hair design makes him look like a Yu-Gi-Oh character, which I'm all for. But yeah, now granted, in the silhouette he looked like a bit like a Kenpachi. But either way, this is arguably the Lurking Legend. Arguably, I'd say this is probably the One Piece equivalent of like a Madara Uchiha type figure. But yeah, he's here. I love the design. Let's see. It's like a more menacing like Blackbeard in some sense. So yeah. Arguably it is cool here, and basically everything of this page just gives him hype about how giving mystery of like he was at the Reverie, he killed an admiral, which leads to some to think he's a king. And let's see, he's clearly got some business with Harold, and we're curious to see how that will play out. But yeah, overall, this is a very great chapter. Just seeing just how tragic Loki's life is. There's no mother doesn't love him. The famine causes giants to accuse him of being cursed. See, affects his own like half brother Juden, which leads to conflict between those two. Of like Loki probably being envious of the affections that Juden has, but Loki wanting the strength and the prince status, if you will, or be seen at least as a legitimate son to like Harold. Harold continues to be a good king, but clearly there was some neglect in the whole parenting thing. Not necessarily his fault, as it seems like he was giving not all the details of what actually happened. Let's see, Loki lashing out, even trying to be like Kaido in some sense. And then finally, of course, meeting the Rox pirates, learning of like the Galar, the ancient giants Galar history of possibly of Water 7 and Punk Hazard. And of course, fully introduction of Rox and how he basically killed an admiral as his first feat as a rookie pirate. So yeah, overall great chapter. I'd probably let's see. I'm not sure if I should give this a 9.5 or a 10 out of 10, just because of 9.5 might be a nitpicky, or maybe the narration's Big Mom being half human, but that might just be some like, oh, they're doing a recon, or maybe a mistranslation or not. I need more clearance to this. But at the moment, if that is the case, I'll probably give it a 9.5. But at the moment, I want to give this chapter a 10 out of 10. This is a phenomenal chapter. I'm really looking forward to see what we learn more about Rox in the next few chapters and why Loki came to admire him. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I hope everyone are now up to date on One Piece. I hope everyone enjoyed what I had to say in this review. So for now, I am Blue Star Saber signing off. Thank you for listening in, and goodbye for now.